3-on-3 basketball tournament held in honor of a former Eastern student. We take a look at a special signing day ceremony held by the women's soccer team. Andrew Meehan sits down with Jackson Toomey, captain of the Eastern men's soccer team. And Jarrett Soltis is here with highlights from all around Eastern sports, including the men's soccer team's most recent home game. This and more on the October 10th edition of ETV News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Connor O'Malley.
And I'm Julia Florence. Thank you for joining us. On Wednesday, a 3-on-3 basketball tournament honoring late Eastern student Alyssia Wylie took place in the Geisler Gymnasium. Connor O'Malley has more.
Underway in the Geisler Gymnasium on this rainy Wednesday, with trios of students coming out to the woodtop courts to see who will come out on top of this 3-on-3 tournament. But the purpose of this event isn't to see who can run the most efficient pick and roll, but rather to promote healthy relationships. This 3-on-3 event is in honor of the late Alyssia Wylie, former Eastern sophomore who was murdered in 2013 following an abusive relationship. In her memory, the activities at this event are designed to promote discussions of relationships between men and women while utilizing sports and education on interpersonal relationship violence.
And so what we've done today is we've added two components. We've added a athletic event, which is the basketball portion in the basketball tournament. We've had 13 teams sign up today. A bunch of people, countless people come through our awareness tables. So we have the educational component and we have the athletic component.
For Karina Martin, the mother of Alyssia Wylie, she hopes that this now annual event will teach students about the qualities that go into healthy relationships.
You can learn so many things, but if you're not applying it personally, if you don't see that this is affecting you on a personal level, then the knowledge is not going to be that much important to you.
Whether it's playing on the court or being in a relationship, respect, proper communication, and an overall healthy relationship can go a long way. Through the memory of Alyssia Wylie, students were able to analyze what makes up a beneficial relationship while having some fun in the process. For ETV News, I'm Connor O'Malley, spinning it on back to the studio. For the 8th time, the Hartford Courant has recognized Eastern in its Top Workplaces survey. With almost 1,000 employees, Eastern ranked 10th in the large category and was the only public higher education institution recognized among 60 organizations in Hartford, Middlesex, Tolland, Windham, and New London counties. Rankings were based on confidential survey results completed by employees of the participating organizations. This year's current survey surveyed 29,000 employees across the state.
Friday After Dark hosted Improv Night on Friday. 4 talented improv actors incorporated games and activities for the audience to join in on. Volunteers used nouns and settings for the actors to work off of. Make sure to check out the online calendar of events at calendar.easternct.edu to see all the meetings and events taking place on campus.
Last Thursday night, Eastern students gathered in the Geisler Gymnasium for the school's annual pep rally, an event that celebrates warrior spirit and pride. This included captains of Eastern sports teams coming together to hype up the crowd. Various competitions were held, including a 3-point contest and a dance-off. There were also a handful of giveaways for the students who attended.
On Saturday, Eastern hosted its annual open house for prospective students. High schoolers had the opportunity to tour a number of areas on campus, including the communications building. And for some students, even though this was their first time on campus, they already felt at home. Hundreds of prospective students came out to open house this weekend.
Last week, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill into law allowing for college athletes to profit off of their work as athletes. With that in mind, reporter Griffin Hammock traveled to the Student Center to ask students whether they think college athletes should be paid.
That allows NCAA players to profit off of endorsements. The nation is divided on the matter of whether the athletes should get paid or not. We asked a few students here at Eastern what their opinions were.
No, I don't think that NCAA athletes should be getting paid just because they're already getting a full ride to school and it's not fair to the other students.
I guess if you're performing and you're worth some type of value, you should get paid your value, whether you're a professional or not.
They're primarily to get an education, and it kind of doesn't really make sense to pay someone to be there and not value other students as much as that student.
And what happens if somebody gets really good? Do they ask for a raise? There's so many questions. I don't think you want to rush into it.
I don't think they should get paid because a lot of them, like at least the top ones, have scholarships anyways, so they kind of already are being paid with like that.
Eastern students seem to have mixed feelings on the matter. Whether you support the law or not, this is the first step into college athletes getting compensation for their performance. Reporting from the Student Center, I'm Griffin Hammock, ETV News.
We're joined here now live in studio with Tyler Madden with a look at an awesome story.
Connor and Julia, good evening to you both. It truly was an amazing scene in the Sports Center as Eastern's women's soccer team added a new member to their lineup. Loves the game of soccer.
She likes to walk around, she likes to dance, she likes music.
West was only 10 months old when she was diagnosed with Dravet syndrome, a rare form of epilepsy that impacts 1 in every 15,700 people. But when West was 4 years old, she started playing soccer.
She loves to run. She loves to be on the move all the time.
With the help of Team Impact, a nonprofit that connects children facing serious or chronic illnesses with college athletic teams, West was once again able to join a soccer team.
We all like community-based activities, and if we can help somebody in the community and brighten up their life and their day, we're all about that.
West's family first heard about the organization while attending a college basketball game last year, and the women's soccer team didn't hesitate at the opportunity to help someone in the local community.
It's bringing our whole team together, and it's something we can kind of all bond over, and helping West and her family and making them feel special.
And in the short time they have known one another, they have left a lasting mark on each other.
It's creating memories, positive memories, when we have too many hard memories. We're all together as a family, and we call ourselves Team Terracone. So it's nice to be out with the team.
Team Terracone joining forces with the Warriors squad.
Being an athlete and being on the ETSU women's soccer team isn't just about playing games, but it's about being a part of our community as a whole.
Good to give back, good to interact with the local community, good to volunteer.
When talking with West's mom, Kara, about what she wanted people to know about the signing day ceremony, she said she hopes that more teams will contact Team Impact and see if they can get involved to have an impact on someone else's life, like the Eastern women's soccer team did.
And what plans do they have to get to know West even more?
Well, in talking at the ceremony last week with the coach and with the players, he was telling me that the players are really going to take charge of that. West is already going to games and going to practices, and so they were talking about even maybe having a Halloween costume party or something, having a pasta party, but just really getting to know the players is really what they're hoping, so West can get this experience and get to know these great Eastern athletes.
All right. Just an awesome story for someone in the local community. Tyler, thank you.
Thanks.
When we come back, we have another edition of ETV News' One-on-One as Andrew Meehan recently sat down with Jackson Toomey of the men's soccer team. Stay with us.
All right, Monroe, you ready? Monroe. Here we go, the butterfly. Ready? Ooh.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wylie go? Where's Wylie? Ah, there she is. Paw?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps! Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Andrew Meehan recently sat down with one of the captains of Eastern men's soccer team, Jackson Toomey. Take a look.
everyone. I'm Andrew Meehan, and welcome to ETV News One-on-One. The men's soccer team is off to an incredible start as they are set to take on conference rival Keene State this Saturday. And joining me here now is the captain of the men's soccer team, Jackson Toomey. Jackson, thanks for joining me.
Hey, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
So you guys are number 1 in the Little East Conference, sitting at 3-1. You're 10-2 overall. What have been some of the key factors so far this season for your team's success?
Well, a lot has gone into it. One thing that I always bring up is our depth. I think that's been huge for us. You know, we're 12 games in, so you have a lot of injuries that pop up or just guys going through their different stretches. But, you know, we've really had guys ready to go when it is their turn to come up, and whatever their role is, guys have been good at accepting that and being ready for the challenge.
I mean, the amount of depth you guys have in your lineup is just insane, both on offense and defense. So before this week, you guys were ranked 10th in the New England region, and you guys were the only team to beat WPI, who was ranked 5th at the time. What did that mean for the team to beat a team like that and to be ranked 10th in the region at that moment?
Well, so early on, that's definitely a big win for us. You know, it's a really strong program over there at WPI. They've been really good the last couple of years. And we're, you know, going to them. We're playing that game on the road, so that's a whole other test in itself. They play very direct, which is difficult to play against. And the fact that we were able to hold in and win a close game like that, you know, and really, like, pack it in when we needed to, and also be willing to go at them a little bit and attack them, I think that kind of set the tone for what we expected of ourselves. And then from there, we were able to build on that and just keep improving and trying to get better by, you know, every game we play.
So let's talk about head coach Greg DeVito for a second. Reached 154 wins earlier in the start of the season. What did it mean for the team to be a part of that on that day and make program history along with coach?
Yeah, I mean, we're all super excited on that day to be there and be a part of that. I mean, it obviously starts with coach. You know, he works so hard and is so dedicated to this program, has done so much for it that, you know, he's the one that's starting it all off. And there's been so many guys that are a part of that program record from, you know, when he started here, whether it's coaches, players, other people around the school. But, you know, for us to be there when the record actually got broken, yeah, that meant a lot to the group.
So much success, and you guys aren't even done yet with the season. So let's talk about this Saturday. 2-1 Keene State down to the turf. What are some things that the team is going to have to look out for in an opponent like Keene State?
You just always got to be ready for them. They're a super strong team this year. They've, you know, same thing. We're all over the field. You know, they don't really have any holes. They're all good players, and they're always ready to compete. You can always count on them for that. So, you know, that's what we want too. We're here to compete, so it's going to be a good one.
And so what are some of the things that the team needs to do in order to secure the win?
I think our big thing is just, you know, sticking to the game plan we come up with and everyone doing their job, because, you know, we have a bunch of capable guys, and everyone, you know, when we're all on the same page and we're all doing what we're supposed to do, then, you know, you've seen it's worked out pretty well for us so far. So as long as guys are really focused and, like I said again, but really being ready to compete, because that's what, you know, this is going to be a battle. So guys have to be ready for that moment, and I think we will be. You know, I have a lot of confidence in we have a lot of, you know, they have a lot of confidence in themselves too, the other guys on the team, so it should be a good one.
Once again, I'm joined here by the captain of the men's soccer team, Jackson Toomey. Jackson, thanks again for your time and good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Go get them. Make sure to come out and support the Warriors as they take on Keene State at Rick McCarthy Field this Saturday. The game starts at 1 o'clock. I'm Andrew Meehan, and now let's send it back to Connor and Julia.
Andrew, thank you. Still ahead, we take a look at the latest calls by Connecticut lawmakers to investigate the safety of vintage planes like the one involved in last week's crash at Bradley. Don't go away.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and like jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him, like he's gotta come home with me. Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Senator Richard Blumenthal adds his voice to a growing chorus of calls to investigate the safety of vintage airplanes. Last week, a World War II-era bomber crashed at Bradley International Airport, killing 7 of the 13 people on board. On Monday, Blumenthal called on the Federal Aviation Administration to put tougher regulations in place.
This crash and other tragic crashes previously, 21 of them since 1982, directly and immediately raise questions about the adequacy of those conditions and regulations. We want the FAA to act very deliberately, but very promptly.
Blumenthal said that vintage airplanes are often not covered by the rules for commercial and private planes. The plane belonged to the Collins Foundation, a 40-year-old educational nonprofit that organizes rides on historical military planes. On Sunday, the company reportedly suspended flight operations for the rest of the year.
Former Vice President Joe Biden is weighing on the impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump. He says he supports impeachment, which marks the first time the presidential candidate has said so in public.
Donald Trump has violated his oath of office, betrayed this nation, and committed impeachable acts. To preserve our Constitution, our democracy, our basic integrity, he should be impeached.
A rough transcript shows the president asked Ukraine's president to investigate Biden and his son for the younger Biden's dealings with an energy company in that nation. There's no proof of any wrongdoing by either man. Biden's support joins a group of Democrats who are thought to have enough votes in the House to pass articles of impeachment. Speaker Nancy Pelosi has not scheduled that vote.
Walgreens will no longer sell e-cigarettes. The retail pharmacy chain announced Tuesday it will stop selling the products amid, quote, developing regulations in a number of states and municipalities. The law comes as governments struggled with questions of how to regulate vape products after several deaths have been blamed on them. Walmart made a similar announcement last month. Walgreens will continue to sell traditional cigarettes.
This comes as another vaping-related death has been reported. The California Department of Health announced on Tuesday the state's third death due to lung disease associated with vaping, bringing the nationwide total of confirmed deaths to 24. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention announced on Thursday that the agency is aware of 1,080 confirmed and probable cases of lung injury associated with e-cigarette use in 48 states and the U.S. Virgin Islands as of October 1st.
Dogs could add years to your life. That's according to new research from the University of Toronto. Researchers analyzed data from 4 million people in 6 countries. They found dog owners had a lower risk of dying early by 24%. For those who have already had a heart attack, the risk of dying was lowered by 31%. A major factor could be pet owners who walk their dogs got up to 30 minutes of exercise a day. Studies also show petting dogs can reduce blood pressure, anxiety, and depression.
When we come back, Jarrett Soltis will be here with a look at the men's soccer team's most recent home game that highlights next in sports.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that after 75 years, Smokey's only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
But I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is.
Go on with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Julia Florence.
And I'm Connor O'Malley. We're joined here by ETV Sports' Jarrett Soltis. Jarrett, good evening.
Connor and Julia, good evening to you both. The Eastern Connecticut State men's soccer team was in action this past Sunday as they squared off against the Huskies of Southern Maine in a Little East Conference matchup. Former LEC Defensive Player of the Week, Emmanuel Adjaman, getting ready to take on Southern Maine down at the turf last Sunday. Check out the nice passing here by Andres Mieri and Justin Jensen early in this game. So Mieri's going to have the ball here. He's going to get it over to Jensen. Jensen's going to take a few dribbles. Then he's going to give it back to Mieri, and then right back to Jensen as Jensen slices through defense, and then into the back of the net for the Warriors as they would take an early 1-0 lead. Then just 3 minutes later, it's going to be Patrick Adjaman. He's going to play the long ball here for the Warriors. He's going to be able to get past a Southern Maine defender and then put it into the bottom right corner for the Warriors to give them a 2-0 lead. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, he can dance too as he celebrates there with teammate Harvey Littman. And then with just 1 minute left in the first half, it's going to be Danny Shaler. He's going to take the through ball here for the Warriors and then into the back of the net as Eastern would take a 3-0 lead into halftime. And then 11 minutes into the second half, it's going to be a throw-in by Jared Caroline up to Harvey Littman. Littman's going to take the ball up, get a cross over to Patrick Adjaman, and then into the back of the net for Adjaman's second goal of the game. As Littman celebrates with him there, take another look at that one as Littman takes the throw in there from Caroline, gets it over to Adjaman in a textbook cross, beautiful play from the two Warrior forwards there. And a little later, senior Griffin Luchek says, I want to get in the action too. He puts the ball in the bottom left corner there for the Warriors as that catapults their lead to 5-0. And then just a little while later in the 78th minute of play, it's going to be Max Parent. He's waiting in front of the goal, off the crossbar, gets the rebound, heads it into the back of the net for the Warriors. Take another look at that one as Parent, right place, right time for the Warriors, heads that one right in the back of the net. As Eastern will go on to win this game 6-0, they would move to 10-1-0 on the season, while Southern Maine would fall to 0-9-3. Justin Jensen with 1 goal, his 4th on the year, and Patrick Adjaman with 2 goals, his 12th and 13th on the year to lead the LEC. ETV Sports' Anthony Grancelli caught up with senior captain Justin Jensen after that dominating win. Take a look.
Hello and thank you. I'm Anthony Grancelli alongside Justin Jensen here. Now, Justin, you were set up perfectly by Andres Mieri 18 minutes in for a beautiful goal that really led the Warriors on the attack. They scored 5 more goals after. How does it feel to be the captain and lead by example?
It feels good. You know, once you get the first one, it relieves a lot of the stress that you have, and then the next ones are easier to come. But leading by example feels good. Yeah.
The next game, home game you have here, is against Keene State College. Obviously an important one, a big rivalry matchup. What are you looking forward to keep going to bring momentum into the next game for that matchup?
Yeah, I think we need to keep pressing and making them feel like uncomfortable on the ball. And I think that's going to really help us against them. We're really looking forward to that game, and it should be an exciting one.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Anthony Grancelli, sending it back up top.
Next game for the Warriors takes place this Saturday as they host the Owls of Keene State in a very highly anticipated Little East Conference matchup. That game is set to get underway at 1 o'clock. A few other teams were in competition this week as well. The volleyball team played a tri-tournament this past Saturday where they lost to Southern Maine 3-1 in the first match and then took down Curry College in straight sets in match number 2. The field hockey team was in action this past week, losing to Castleton 4-1 last Saturday and then taking down Regis College 2-1 on Wednesday. The women's soccer team won 1 and lost 1 this week, taking down Southern Maine 1-0 last Saturday and then losing to Connecticut College on Tuesday 3-0. 2 days after dominating a win against Southern Maine, the men's soccer team traveled down to New London to take on Connecticut College, where they were beat by a score of 3-1. That's all for this week in sports. Connor, Julia?
Thanks, Jarrett. That's it for this week's show.
Thank you so much for joining us. To keep up to date with all things ETV News, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Connor O'Malley.
And I'm Julia Florence. We'll see you next week, Eastern.